Hi everyone, this is a quick tutorial to show you how to send MIDI from Ableton Live out into Isadora. So the first thing I've done is just created a region here, and I've created 4 MIDI notes. I've got no instruments on this track, it is purely just MIDI. I'm then just going to go to Preferences and make sure that the output is sending out to Isadora Virtual In. And I've got these both turned on and stuff like that. And what I've also done is in envelopes, I've just created a MIDI control on channel 19 and just created lots of random steps here. And we'll come back to that in a minute. I'll just give it a bit of variation. Okay. And I'm actually going to set this off, so it's actually going to be running in loop. You can check it's working just by seeing this this trigger here. These LEDs lights are lighting up just to replicate these 4, so you can see that's running in time. Okay, so I'm going to jump to Isadora, and in MIDI setup, which is under communications, I'm going to make sure that I enable port 1 has Isadora Virtual In. Okay, and I'm going to create a control watcher. Okay, and I'm going to create a note on watcher. Okay, so now that's set up, in Ableton Live, we just need to make sure that we're sending the MIDI out. So ignore this MIDI from, that's if this track has received MIDI information from an external MIDI device, a sequencer or something. We need to send the MIDI out. Okay, so back to Isadora. And now we've got things coming to life. If I actually just go to the monitor and just turn all these off and just show MIDI coming in. We've got a lot of MIDI information coming in here. If I just pause it, we can see control change on channel 1, number 19, which is, we know what we wanted because I said in here, number 19. And we should also be receiving note values here as well. Here's the note on, the note off message on there. So we're getting both. So note on will be flashing 4 times. It's all the same pitch, all the same velocity, so there's that trigger. And the controller, we can see the numbers are a bit more erratic. This is that grid that's going a little bit crazy. Okay, with the control watcher, it's looking on all ports, all channels as well. And we know that it's coming on port 1 and channel 1. So I'm just going to change this to replicate that. And we know it's controller 19, so I'm going to change that to 19 as well. Now what that means is, if I just create another controller watcher, it means that you can look on all channels, on all ports, and the watcher will find all of that data. Now it's good practice to narrow down the port and channel and controller, because if, in fact I'll actually do it. If I was to pick, let's pick a random number 50, and draw in some more data here, okay, and turn that off. If I go back to Isadora, this is going to be getting a little bit confused because it's going to be watching for the original one on controller number 19 and the one on 50. So as you can see here, it's actually changing between 19 and 50, and you're not going to be getting the correct data off this one, because it's like trying to get, well, I don't know, 2 keys in a lock. It struggles and it fights. But if I change this one to 50, and we know it's still on port 1, channel 1, then this one is just looking for port 50, and you've separated them off. It's kind of like a filter, if that's not too confusing a way to explain it. So there we go, and that is how you send information from Ableton, set up here. going into Isadora and deciding exactly what you want the controller data to do and the note on. Now a little scenario of how you might use this is you might want the tap tempo. So if we send that in, we'll pick an average of 4 bars. So now, as it's receiving these MIDI notes, we're getting a true BPM and hertz data out. Now I already know that Isadora is, I know Ableton Live is on 120 BPM, but if I crank that up to 160 and then go back to Isadora, this should start to change. And it's pretty accurate. You get the odd little one that goes out, but it's neither here or there really. It's pretty bang on. So this is good for VJing or if you're trying to sync music to a beat. And the control watcher, well, these values here could be controlling parameters on a synth, you know, the cutoff, resonance, filter, some kind of delay or anything really. And in Isadora you might want that to affect some kind of, I don't know, let's just think of a scenario here. I was looking for colorizer or something like that. I'm just thinking on my head here. What's a decent effect? I don't know, I'm going to go with good old dots. Let's say for example these could be affecting the size of the dots. So as the parameter changed it could affect both the audio and visual. I don't know, I was just thinking on me feet there a little bit. But as I always say in a lot of my videos, these are just numbers. What you want to do with them is totally up to you. So hopefully that's helpful.